What you're about to hear are two excerpts from the American Nuke radio program from the 14th and 30th of October 2019. The interview is with Major General Paul E. Vallely, who, as we can see here, was a U.S. Army Major General and senior military analyst who retired in 1993 after a career of 32 years.
General Vallely, I have a question for you from our chat room on the American Nuke Radio fan page. Do you know who the individual calling himself or themselves, if it's an organizational effort, Q? What do you know about that? Was that part of the PSYOP? What are you at liberty to say? Or is it a bunch of bunk?
Well, let me just tell you the QAnon's tied to information. And it comes out of a group called the Army of Northern Virginia. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is a group of military intelligence specialists of over 800 people that advise the president.
Over 40 years of Secret Service in the intelligence department and in the United States under many different presidents. So I'm giving you information from people who know what's going on, okay? This operation is an intelligence operation that began by 200 generals, Secret Service officers, okay? It began because of what happened at 9/11 in 2001. 200 generals got together and said, enough, okay? And so an operation began to overthrow this government and to stop child pedophilia and many things that were going on around the world, okay? How does this connect to the virus? First of all, they wanted to, and President Trump is aware of this, they wanted to implement a pandemic that would panic the whole world. To cause a pandemic, you first have to get people sick. How do you get people sick? You have to implement something in the air that causes flu-like symptoms. The designated spot to do this was in Wuhan, China. They set off an enormous capacity in Wuhan, China. This caused the people of the area to get flu-like symptoms. 26 scientists said, do not conduct 5G in that area because it will cause flu-like symptoms. As people were going to the hospital for flu-like symptoms, they were given the vaccine, which was the coronavirus. So the cameras were ready to film it as they died in the streets or wherever they were so that you could see it. Because remember, their idea was to panic the world, and I'll give you the information that President Trump received. So that's why he didn't go on with some of the things that they wanted him to do, okay? So as the 5G caused these flu-like symptoms in Wuhan, China, they went to the hospitals for the flu and were giving the vaccine, which was the coronavirus.
Doesn't have a lot of confidence in the CIA or even the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, as much anymore. So he relies on these real operators. Most of them are special operations type of people. Yeah. And so this is where Q picks up and gets some of their information, as I understand it.
Okay, listen, I'm not a Q guy, but a million people are asking me about Q, and that was what went the furthest with our last show. In the dying seconds that we have, can you say anything about Q being a white hat psychological operation?
Yeah, it is a white hat. It is a white information system that gathers information, intelligence, and puts it out through a distribution that's called QAnon. And as we can see, most of the reports that come in from Q are very valid. The only thing they've been off on a little bit is when Attorney General Barr is going to come out with indictments, and the word was put out for the Red October to be October 18th. Well, that's since been delayed, so we're all standing by for these indictments from the Attorney General of the United States regarding the Russian collusion and the silent coup against President Trump.
General Vallely, thank you so much for coming on the show. We've got to let you go. We have absolutely no time left. Well, there you go, everybody.
I leave you a small clip from another interview so that you can verify that the voice from the radio program is indeed who it is claimed to be.
Radical Islamic individuals live in the ghettos, what we may call outside of Paris in the suburbs. And when I was over there a couple of years ago, when we took the subway into Paris, you could see how these suburbs had been ghettoized, for lack of a better word. And many of the Muslims who had moved in there and then became radicalized or radicalized.
During the Obama administration, they were going to do a military takeover. They were going to do this thing where the power gets turned off for 2 weeks, you're in your house, you can't leave, there's military outside, and they're arresting the deep state. But it was going to be a surprise, and people weren't really necessarily going to see this coming. It would have caused a great deal of fear. At the last minute, they pulled the plug on this plan because, and here's another important thing, the alliance does not have a lot of money. Let's go back to so the alliance is actually, it's a grassroots effort, believe it or not. They don't have an enormous amount of resources financially to do what they're doing. So they needed someone who could self-finance. They wanted to actually have an alliance candidate run for president, somebody who could be supportive of what they were trying to say. So there weren't very many choices. They needed somebody who had the ability to self-finance a campaign, who was not a satanic pedophile blood drinker, okay? They needed somebody who actually could find out what was really going on and be repulsed by it and want to do something about it. So they brought in Donald Trump. Before he ever decided to run, he was brought in by military friends of his. He got these briefings that lasted for 2 weeks where they showed him some really, really horrible stuff. And they convinced him to run for president and that he would be starting to tell people things that you've never heard in any campaign before, starting to really talk about what's actually happening. If you're only paying attention to what the media is telling you, you're missing this huge thing that's going on.
This is what I want to get into. Okay. Because you sent me the pics. I mean, you always come with the receipts, the proof, documents.
Correct.
So let's talk about these politicians with these ankle monitors. Let's go into that.
Right. Okay, just reverting back to the video. It was a lot of the video on the last drop that you did. The purpose of that video was to prove that these people was in court already. All right, that was the proof. It's both civil and criminal dockets on the same case, different case number. But anyway, on the internet, you know, people, rumors about Ellen DeGeneres. We've seen her ankle monitor, Oprah Winfrey. But it's proof out here now that more these politicians had it. Obama got one. There's a photo of him on some surfboard now. One ankle, if you know about surfboarding, you know that one ankle got the connection. They put the little ankle strap on your ankle to keep you and the surfboard attached. That's on one ankle. The other ankle is an ankle monitor. Clear as day.
Clear as day.
Right. Hillary Clinton, she on the beach walking the dog with some blue sundress on. You got that receipt. Big ass ankle monitor. Okay.
Huge.
And these look like military ankle monitors. They don't look like the ankle monitors you get when you go, you know, from regular court. Those look like military type of ankle monitors. Chunky, you know, military equipment, all chunky. It looked like a military ankle monitor. Okay. Who else? David Spade. David Spade. Now, there's a video that is on YouTube, and we can prove that receipt too. These two people that actually was reporting on these mass arrests in Hollywood. and they were reading off the names from the arrest warrants, and a lot of these people think ain't their real name. It's a stage name, or they leave out the middle name, or you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So David Spade's real name, I think, is Jacob, something like Jacob David Spade. I think David is the middle name. But anyway, we have the picture of him with the ankle monitor on clear as day, and his name is on that list of those that was recently arrested. Who else? Oprah Winfrey. A lot of people put me on the Oprah ankle monitor. Now people say, "Oh, that don't like an ankle monitor. It looked like the how the pants is designed." Okay, no. If you in the receipt that MREC got, is arrows pointing at the ankle monitor, not the other pant leg.
Facts.
People bugging, but yeah, these people, those are just people whose pictures have recently floated out there. So maybe they all being held the same place. I don't know, because it's funny how Hillary on a beach and Obama is too. So that's something that needs to be addressed. But yeah, they definitely got ankle monitors. They definitely have been either arrested, detained, agreed to cooperate. But there's no cooperation when you're talking about a military tribunal. These people are being tried in criminal court, civil court, regular court, and then the military tribunal. If you know about the military tribunals, like I said, that's a different animal. There's no long, dragged-out case, ain't no appeals, and these people are being charged with treason. And the penalty for treason is death in this country. Yeah.
We're going to get into some more receipts. You sent me Beyonce and Tina Knowles about to start, I guess, getting people to take the vaccines
And get tested and things of that nature. But I told y'all on April 17th when I posted, I said it was a meme that I made. Said, watch you soon, your favorite NBA, your favorite NFL, your favorite celebrity, singer, actor, rapper is going to start trying to convince you to take these vaccines. Now all of a sudden they opening up something that's going to be tested or trying to introduce the vaccine to people in Houston. Hello, vaccine is the virus, okay? Like I told on the last bill that we did, one of my best friends is a registered nurse, and she said it's about 15 different strains of the coronavirus that's out here. You know what I'm saying? They also treat people with the radiation lights and UV and stuff of that nature. So yeah, these celebrities, they still pushing the agenda. They trying their hardest to get this vaccine either mandated or out to the public, you know what I'm saying, before the deep state is taken down.
Facts. See that. Now, you also sent me, I want to say, these are receipts also because the pictures of Obama kids and the real parents, man.
Right.
I mean, you can't even deny
exactly
those kids' real parents. Like, when I saw those pictures.
Right.
Go into that.
Right. Now, it's been rumors about transgender things of that nature, but we ain't going to talk about that now, allegedly, because we're not being penalized for, you know what I'm saying, alleged things. But this is old news, okay? Sasha and Malia Obama are not the Obamas, or these people who are claiming Obama's children. The children belong to two other people, and they always with them. It's a doctor and his wife. And the pictures.
Okay, White Hats Reports, we started that in 2010 because we felt that we needed to get information out in the public, and we also wanted to let the bad guys, the cabal, know that we knew what was going on. And in the doing of all of that we were able to inform. At the time, we didn't know it when we started, but we informed a lot of people, both in the United States and outside the United States, about issues that they were not aware of that concerned them, that had them, you have a problem with somebody and there's a lot of missing pieces. There's a lot of dots, but you can't connect them. And inadvertently, we supplied a lot of dots to a lot of people so that they could connect them and basically understand a few things. So anyway, we started doing our reports in November of 2010, so we're coming up on 10 years. We released, I think we've released 68 reports at this point, who turns out to be Ferrara, who turns out to be one of the group of 5 of the 5-Star Trust. And that started us down that road as far as what 48 was all about, and documenting the creation and the origination of the shadow government, also known as the Deep State. The arrests were supposed to begin, originally the arrest began in Europe. When all this coronavirus came down, the arrest began in Europe, and that was to take out what is referred to, for us anyway, as infrastructure. Then the arrests then moved to the United States. And none of the things that now have started, which is the public disclosure, none of those things were going to happen, the public disclosure part, until the infrastructure was taken out, because there was concern about false flags, there was concern about violence, there was concern about certain things happening that would get the public caught up in it, riots and those kinds of things. And so before they start doing the public disclosure of what's been going on, which started yesterday, by the way, with Flynn, we had more dumps today. We're going to get more dumps every day, probably for a long time. They had to get the infrastructure taken out of the way. And these are the mercenaries, the private armies that these people have put together with their off-balance sheet money that they have based on, their drug profits and trading program profits. Same money, same funds that they use for the black projects and the secret space program. So that infrastructure had to be taken out first. And of course, there was a time frame, there was a timeline that had been laid out for that to happen. And of course, whenever you're into that kind of a situation, which is basically a full-on military operation, sometimes, things can go wrong, or things can take longer than you think they're going to take. But today, I think, if you saw Trump's presser, we had 7 flags up behind him, and none of the flags had fringe on them. Yeah, I think that's a signal, because the 7 flags is interesting, because that relates to the 7 trumpets. That also relates to 7 broadcasts that are supposed to be upcoming, that are going to be given by Trump to basically lay out all of the information. Now, I don't know whether that's going to happen or not, but that's been talked about. So I don't think it was a coincidence that we had 7 flags up today behind him, because we've kind of paid attention to the pressers. We checked the flags, how many flags, what flags. Do the flags have fringe? What about the presidential seal? Is it the presidential seal? Is it not the seal? Does that mean, unsealed means the indictments are being unsealed, or are they still sealed if the seal's there? And so anyway, today, and I can't remember a time in my lifetime where there has been an official American flag in that circumstance, without the fringes. Now, it could have happened and I missed it, because I don't watch every single, press conference or, whatever. I mean, I don't watch everything for, the last 50 years, but I don't remember ever that there wasn't fringe on the flag, and the fringe on the flag denotes admiralty law, maritime law, right. Law of the seas. And so if that is not on the flag, that's very significant.
So it should open again. And Gene's going to go from here, so I can stop talking. That would be. Okay.
So what this is just what's actively being fought for right now. In the last 24 hours, this is ongoing operation, so people need to pray and help the White Hats with their prayers to make sure that the White Hats come out on top of this. So this is a list of ongoing dumb takeouts, and this was compiled by TCB and High Vibratory Photography, who are my editors now. So they help me research and compile things. So in California, at that latitude, longitude, Bodie, and you can see the picture there of the area. And so quite often when you have these dumps, you have this kind of like dirt piles and things of the stuff that comes out, where they have to get in at the beginning before the machine starts turning it into a glass wall. And then, of course, China Lake, which is ongoing, that runs all the way up originally, and that now is going up into the Ridgecrest tunnel system. So that's ongoing, continually going further and further up north, in which they had rescued the children from that huge spark gap grid, like I stated earlier in my original dumb decode. And that was the operation was called Mission Capable for that, to capable to get the children out of there, although it's such a massive number. And then Little Lake, which is that latitude and longitude, that is in Idaho. And Cascade, also in Idaho. That is ongoing. They went from Twin Falls and now they're worked their way down to Cascade. And you can see the line that shows you how the dump tunnel runs there. And of course, that's following, strangely enough, it just happens to be following that power line system there. It's interesting. Also, the Tennessee and in Tennessee, I'm sorry, we got a misspelling here. My guy had been up all night. He was starting to see cross-eyed. He's tired. He doesn't do like I can do, where I can go 2 or 3 days up at once. He's like up 2 days. He's like he's going cross-eyed. So it's at that latitude and longitude at Tiptonville where they're taking out another dump there. There's a map of the area. And that's a Google Earth picture of the area. And he's outlined where the dump is for people that don't know or can't figure it out. It shows it really quite well.
Wow.
Kirsten's getting high tech. She can do pictures.
Yeah, not that high.
And then Texas at that latitude, longitude, they've been doing this one for quite a while. It's a mess down there. It's really, really difficult. So we really need to pray to help the special forces down there to finally get this done. In the Pecos up there in the corner of Texas, and that jutting off right at the border of near Oklahoma.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
My guy that does the magnets and all that Tesla technology, he said that the White Hats have control of the Los Alamos labs.
Wow. Didn't know about that one.
Yeah, he said they have control of Area 51 and the Los Alamos labs, because they're doing a lot of stuff from the Los Alamos labs. So maybe our chemtrails might be down, huh? Less chemtrails.
Because Area 51 and Area 52, which is Dugway Proving Ground in Salt Lake, they've gotten control of that. So that's completely cleaned. I didn't know about Los Alamos, because Los Alamos ties to everything. It ties to Dulce, it ties to Sandia Labs, it ties all the way down. It goes all the way down to the Carlsbad and the White Sands.
Yeah, he's an expert, and he does all the Tesla technology, and he confirmed over and over that it's been taken over by the Patriots.
That's stunning. I'll have to look into that.
News before Rick gets it. Thank you. Okay.
So the other parts of the world, we're doing JSOC. General Milley announced that we're not going to allow them to come in through our country, and they're not launched an entire naval fleet and the cartels, and that means not just drugs, because of course the drugs means children, it means human trafficking as well. So the Pinellas that you see here in Colombia, the JSOC went down there, the Joint Task Force of the Navy, Air Force, Marines, and the reservists that they called up are going in and taking this out.
Okay. That's the same thing, right?
Yes, and then the next one is in Fiji. You remember Fiji water? Fiji is the
Oh,
like,
that's the best water, Fiji.
yeah, but it's also the best place on earth that's left at this time for child trafficking. It's huge. It's underneath the Fiji water plant. And so they're taking that huge dump that's lots and lots of children down there. They're taking that out. It's a huge trafficking area, pretty much worldwide. If you think any of these small islands, think children, that they are abusing children there. It's all over the place. It's almost every island on earth that's a smaller island that especially if the British monarchy ever had anything to do with it. Then in Greece, they're doing Komnina. You can see the latitude, longitude location there, and that's a very linked facility, which is why they're doing that. It connects to a lot of different places. So they do the hubs first, and then they work their way out from the hubs because it allows them to cut trafficking coming in. In Indonesia, again, he's tired. We can see what the spelling is. Yeah, we have, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. I don't speak Indonesian, so
I do. Nadu Loda.
Okay, that's what it is. At that latitude and longitude, and again, that's children. So they're way into getting the children as well as Narang at that latitude and longitude. All of this is Indonesia. They're working.
I think it's not orang. It's O-R-A-N-G, orang. Orang in Indonesian means people. Or O-R-A-N-G, orang.
Yeah, he may have misspelled that. He was pretty cross-eyed by the time he got we could see with Papua New Guinea. And I spelled it to him phonetically, Navy-wise, like, Papa Alpha, Papa, Uniform Alpha. I was spelling stuff to him. He was too tired. They know not to tax him. He can't do it. That's a Taran there, and that's also a submarine facility where they come up with submarines and come in there, as you can see with the shelf. Then in Kimbi, at that latitude and longitude, well, of course, children, you got another small island, so they love to do the stuff on islands. And then in Turkey, we have Kurgagak at that latitude and longitude. That's being under combat right now for that between the white hats and the black hats. So when you look at earthquakes, what you want to look for is if you see P waves or not. Natural earthquakes always have P waves. If they have, especially you have a large earthquake and there's no P wave, and if you're sitting on your porch and you suddenly get knocked out of your chair, that's not the way earthquakes work. They roll, and you can see the earth actually roll and hear it thrum or vibrate. It doesn't suddenly go boom and you're knocked out of your chair. It's a dumb
explosion. Yeah, that's an explosion. It's not an earthquake.
Yes. In Japan, we have Iwaki, and that's Japanese submarine tunnel entrance going into the submarine facility there. And in Russia, this is it goes up into Petropavlovsk. That's their big submarine base. It goes all the way up underneath that, comes out the other side into the ocean on the other side. It's big for their submarine facilities. And in Kursk, also it's part of the same submarine tunnel system, and that's to get into the inlets of that ocean area. In Guam, of course, again, children, Yoni Village. Or Yona, sorry.
Okay, that's it. We're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so just a question. You
Yes.
said some of them we lost, and then we've gained some back.
Yeah, we lost Lassen, Mount Lassen, and that we've gained that one back.
And
And
that's in California?
Yes. People don't realize that when you think and what you do, and if you pray or you don't pray, that energy actually helps fuel how things work. And so it literally, because we have souls, or have the ability to create with our thought. And that's why the dark side and black magic shows you what they're going to do ahead of time to get you focused on it. So your thoughts create, because they don't have souls. They can't create. They have to use our energy through our thoughts and feelings and emotions. The way they get you afraid and get you terrified so that you will create their different.
Fear is not from God, right? The Bible says fear is not from God. That's a weapon.
Exactly. Fear is from Satan.
Correct. Okay, so we're going into the war decode now, or shall we go into the Bush thing? Shall we go into the war?
Go into the Bush thing.
Go to the Bush thing. Okay.
So this is the actual indictment papers on Bush, and it does talk a little bit in here about tunnels, but if you watch the level of things he was involved with and who was involved with him, it's quite in depth. So it's not any question as to why he got lethal injection.
Okay, so go down.
Yeah, go down. And so I found it's best if you go to around page 10. It's where it picks up.
10. They're not even numbered, so I don't know.
So this is the application for the indictment and the affidavit. That's where they describe everything. And then you have the names.
Why are all these scratched out?
Because it would dox the persons.
Oh, so these are evil ones. They're scratched out.
No, not necessarily evil. It just means that those are people involved with the case. It could be defense attorneys. They could be investigators. And
okay, so keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's page 13 already.
Yeah, so here, keep going though.
Keep going, okay.
So here we're getting into the USC Code 15 and Code 18 and citing the specifics on what he was indicted, and here we go. This is the main body, and it enters the plaintiff and the defendants, and that he violated, amongst many things, concerning money laundering as a grand jury indictment for human trafficking underneath the RICO Act, like I said, Article 18 of the USC Code, and George Herbert Walker Bush. This is a formal memorandum of money laundering, racketeering, violation of the FCP and the change mining law as well. And it goes through the different things, for example, sedition involving uranium-1, the Carlyle Group in South Africa in what was called Eagle 2, which is drug trafficking, bringing things up, the Barrick Gold, the BHP Billiton, all this involved with George Herbert Walker Bush. And this is all summoned in front of a tribunal of the grand jury, in which he, in South Africa, also violated mining laws there with the Clinton Foundation and the Barrick Gold Incorporated, and also in the country of Congo and in Tanzania.
Oh, it's Tanzania.
Tanzania, sorry. I've always my life pronounced it wrong. Thank you.
You know what it is? Americans, I hate to say this, Americans are really bad at geography.
I've actually pronounced it that way all my life.
Oh, really? It's Tanzania. They always also say, what is it? Qatar for Qatar. It's really Qatar. They always say Qatar.
That one I know. I've actually been to Qatar. That one I know.
Qatar. What is that? Okay.
And that's through Black Eagle Trust.
Okay.
And then we go into the Enron and that big mess that he did with Enron. He was involved with that as well. The files were kept on the 23rd floor of the World Trade Center. So, pretty obvious why that came down, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into Nevada and Montana and with Harry Reid, in which he was involved with in violations again of the Logan Act. And
why isn't Harry Reid in jail?
This is just for him at this time. And also involved was Nazi supremacist Richard Secord, General Secord, Thomas Fowler, Kevin Spacey, which is a real monster. He's nasty.
Kevin Spacey, the one that all of the witnesses were dead, murdered?
Yeah.
That actor?
Yes.
No. Oh, the father of Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm. Arthur Schlesinger and Jim McCoy.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That was the father.
Specific. And then, of course, we have Eagle 2 bankrolled by George Soros.
Oh, God.
Surprise there, huh?
Yeah, the bankrolls a lot.
Yeah. So financing arms trafficking, money laundering, going all the way back through strategic locations in Argentina, Chile, Peru, Bolivia, and Brazil. And continues on the Carlyle Group again through Montana, Arkansas, through the Black Eagle Trust with Peter Monk and George, where George Herbert Walker Bush was involved with Oliver North, Al Martin, Richard Secord again, Dewey Courage, Sam Watson, Fred Eichley, and his father as well. And then the Crossfire, which is, of course, Crossfire Hurricane. And that investigation, he was involved with that.
Wow.
Yep. Then he was also involved with, through Eagle 2, which is the farm. The farm is where they train the CIA, and they do a lot of Mark Ultra.
Yeah, that's in McLean, Virginia. That's where, what's her name was trained? Nellie Orr.
Yep. And Bruce, too. Her husband.
Bruce
and they
Orr.
hide black market drugs, also paraphernalia, child sex trafficking, and that also involved on the behalf of Michael Aquino.
Yeah, that one is a total child, pedophile child. I don't know. Is he a pedivore? He's a beast.
All of the above.
Satanist. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the above.
Okay.
And then he was involved with covering up activities of the Majestic 12 involving black ops within the Bermuda Triangle area. And that's some of the FBI investigation papers on that specific thing involving the Bermuda Triangle area, which at that time they're talking about it being with drugs through what they called the Bermuda Triangle, and that involved also Richard Armitage and Lieutenant Colonel Robert Ferreira.
Okay, I have a question. You remember that Malaysia Airlines flight that disappeared? I heard that was taken down to some British island there, and all of the scientists, their information was taken, and they were all murdered. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so that's involved. This is involved with that too.
Yes, and this also involved the Special Forces and the Green Beret through Lieutenant Colonel Ferreira. So you have filthy Green Berets and black ops people, like the one that attacked me for my dumb decode, Mr. Sawyer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That one that pretends to be against child trafficking, but he's probably a child trafficker.
Rescued kids on the border of Mexico, and 2 weeks later, the same kids are found on the black web being auctioned. He raped his own daughter and framed a guy and put him in prison and had him murdered.
And he's not in jail. And he was donated to by Mr. Controlled Opposition, Alex Jones.
Yeah, that's who set up V4CR for him, and they get small donations, about $80,000 a month, $5-10, and they split it. They don't even report it on their income tax either.
And Alex Jones is worth like what, 60 million?
Oh yeah, he's way up there. He's Mossad. And then again, we have, as mentioned before, right?
I know who that is. That's Aquino, isn't that Aquino?
Yeah, Aquino, Clinton Powell, James Baker III, the Clintons, and all the previously mentioned people. We have the OPE Center, the Presidential Emergency Operations Center, where the 33rd degree Supreme Right Council of 13 of the Druid Right of the 13 Illuminati bloodlines in the Dome underneath DC.
Is that George Bush in that second seat right there?
I believe so. Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It also looks like, is that the black gal there, is that Rice?
No, yeah, that's Condoleezza Rice. You're correct. That's Condoleezza Rice.
Yep. There's another Druid Council of 13 and another dome.
13 and 13 and 13.
Then we have the street layout in DC with the hexagram, as well as the Masonic square and the compass, and the Tau. The triple Tau is a satanic destruction of the Holy Cross into a satanic upside down broken cross. This is Granite Mountain. And it's where they would do, they clear cleared that out, they found out that they were segregating children at the Y. They call it at the Y, symbolizing the family Y.
Mm.
They would separate them out. If you go down, you'll see the Y where they separated the girls from the boys, because they used the boys as super soldiers or in the Mark Ultra facilities, and they used the girls usually as what are the super soldier Delta or Theta troops with in-time programming, Alexis, Ionis, or Orion type training, and then the girls are used as honeypots, which is called Mark Ultra Alphas. Like a lot of country western singers are alphas, as well as most of the female movie stars that are females. A lot of the females are female. The majority are females. So there's the Y in Granite Mountain, where they segregate the children. Actually, I put this here because I had a person that I have communications with. She witnessed this. She was one of the children that were separated at this Y.
Oh, wow.
She actually went through this. She's an older lady now, but she went through this horrendous torture that they do and the separation. They just brutalize the kids like beyond comprehension. Then this is Tiptonville in Tennessee, which is I put this here because they just finished taking this one out. This is now under White Hat control. I didn't have it in my decode because I don't compromise ops. Then this is MacDill Air Force Base, which is now in White Hat control as well. It also has underneath that one, you can see the chambers underneath the Pyramid of Giza, where they do the satanic rituals that they do on December 22nd through December 25th. In the underground section underneath the pyramid, you can see a little kind of platform under there. And then there's a tunnel that goes way down under the pyramid that's symbolized by the road going down, where they do the black magic and all the sorcery and satanic ritual abuse and sacrifice that they do in that road going up into the pyramid structure there. And so it's very, very, very satanic. And it's also showing the lines going from the pyramid to the Sphinx. And they actually show the Sphinx off to the side there too on that. This is Puerto Rico. It's the last dome. They're in process taking it out now. The domes in Puerto Rico, it's so massive. It turns out it goes under the entire island of Puerto Rico, out 100 miles on all sides under the ocean. And so the earthquakes are ongoing all around Puerto Rico because they're blowing things up as they go to blow doors and get in and fighting all the demonics and stuff like the guy True to Life said on his show with that huge horrendous hub they found in Missouri. And everybody listening, you need to pray like crazy right now. You need to pray as hard as you can. We're going into Beltane. This is the highest time of satanic sacrifice in their year. It's Beltane. It's April 30th to May 1st when we need to get these kids protection down there so that they're rescued and they're not sacrificed to Baal and Moloch.
And Kevin Spacey, all of his accusers are dead. So none of them are going to court against him.
Now, to tell you how bad Kevin Spacey is, Jeffrey Epstein was thinking of barring him from the island because he was so horrendously evil that he out-eviled all the other people there combined. He was so demonic and so horrendous.
Yeah.
And then is James Eugene Carey or Jim Carrey, Ben Affleck, Benjamin Giza Affleck, John William Farrell or Will Ferrell, Marshall Mathers, who's Eminem, Madonna Sassone, in other words, Madonna, John Paul Cusack or John Cusack, Catherine Elizabeth Hudson, known as Katy Perry, Gwen Renee Stephanie, I don't even know who that is.
Lady Boy Gaga. That's Lady Boy Gaga. Lady Gaga.
Yeah, Stephanie Germanotta is Lady Gaga or Mr. Gaga. Anderson Hayes Cooper or Andy Cooper or the son of
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice.
Start really paying attention to what's going on. I wouldn't believe a thing that comes out of Washington, D.C. In fact, it's my own personal belief that this next election that's coming up next year in November, that every American should march on Washington, D.C. and should fire